In the 33-year history of the award, only one player from the Mahoning Valley has earned the title of Ohio's Mr. Basketball. That player is Bob Patton Jr., who won the award back in 1990 after an unbelievable season at Liberty. The Leopard senior averaged over 21 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds per game that season, while helping to lead the Leopards to 27 consecutive wins and a berth in the Division III state championship game. So to honor the Valley's only Mr. Basketball, we dove into the WKBN archives to bring you some highlights of Bob Patton Jr. and his team's championship run. We begin in February of 1990 with Liberty's come-from-behind win against South High. Former WKBN sports director Jim Campbell covered the game.
The game was played in front of a big crowd at YSU. Liberty led by 3 several times in the first quarter, but the Warriors scored the last 6 points of the period. The last 4 came on jumpers by Mark Gregory to give them a 16-13 edge. Liberty grabbed a brief lead at 19-17 when Mark Magic tallied 2 of his 15 on a feed from Dennis Green. There were 4 ties after that and then 3 quick lead changes before halftime. Booker Newberry, who led all scorers with 23, nailed 2 down low to put the Warriors on top, 30-29 at the half. Liberty never led in the third quarter, but did tie it 3 times. Bob Patton drove to the baseline and let fly to knot the game at 45. But South again scored the final 6 points of the quarter. Jermaine Wheat got a fast break layup to make it 51-45 going to the last 8 minutes. The Warriors led by as much as 9 in the final period and were still up by 7 at 66-59 when Levance Turnage scored the last of his 15 points on a long feed. Those were also South's last points. Liberty turned it up a notch. Dennis Green banked in a rebound to make it 66-61. After South missed the front end of a 1-and-1, Patton drained a 3 to complete his 15-point effort and make it 66-64. South then missed another 1-and-1 before Mark Magic hit a pair of charity tosses to tie it with 1:08 left. Only 8 seconds later, Bob Richardson hit a tie-breaking free throw and added 2 more with 18 seconds to go to put Liberty up 69-66. South was able to launch a pair of 3-point tries before it ended, but both came up short, allowing Liberty to escape with its 59th consecutive regular season victory.
Just 1 week later, Liberty's season reached a boiling point when they met up with Canfield. That game came down to the wire and ended with a fight. Literally. Jim Evans covered the game.
Everything you always wanted in a basketball game and more. That summed up this one. A low-scoring first frame saw the Cardinals in front 8-7 when Rob Donahue popped a pair to close the frame. They then blew out the Carbon in the second. The Leopards pulled even at 14 when Mark Magic connected on a base bust for 2 of his 11. The Cards then upped the ante and shuffled out to a 6-point halftime lead. Steve Kirtley negotiated a base drive with 5 seconds to go, and Canfield led 29-23 at the break. Kirtley finished with 11. Down by as much as 10 early in the third, the Leopards unloaded with a 20-6 bust-out key by Bobby Patton, who saw 4 triples in that run. The final one put Liberty up 43-39. Patton knocked down 22 of his game-high 29 in the second half. The Cards countered again with 4 to pull even. Austin Orr drove for 2 of his team-high 18 on the way. It would read 43 all after 3. Final frame, Liberty would go up by as much as 9. Bob Richardson banged 2 of his 13 on a great dish from Patton. But the Cards fired back again and pulled within 59-57 when Ray McCune took the stride inside and plugged 2 of his 12 with 7 seconds to go. Canfield would get another shot after forcing a 5-second violation, but they could not connect. And when the Leopards cleared the board, the lid blew off as tempers flared. Unfortunately, order could not be restored with 1 second still left on the clock, and the game was called. And the Leopards pull off their 61st regular season win, 59-57. Afterwards, both coaches agreed that Bobby Patton's second half effort was a big factor in the outcome.
He proved to me, and I've always known this, he's such an underrated guard offensively because he passes the ball. But, you know, I think our younger kids, Dennis, and some of the kids, they were a little tighter tonight. They wanted to do so well when you want to do so well, and we needed him and Bobby Richardson to really pick it up, and they did.
In March, Liberty was still undefeated and facing Warren JFK, which, if you watch closely, brings us a special cameo appearance from U.S. Congressman Tim Ryan, who was leading the Eagles charge that year. Jim Campbell covered the game in Warren.
Liberty broke to an early 9-point lead. Bob Patton was the Leopards' big gun, firing in 3 3-pointers in the opening stanza. He was on the way to a 31-point night. Kennedy fought back with a 9-3 run to the end of the quarter. Todd Gosier capped the rally with a strong drive for 2 of his 16. It was 17-14 after 1. When Tim Ryan poured in a three-pointer early in the second period, the Eagles only trailed by 2. Ryan had 28 points. All 5 Leopards got into the scorebook between then and the end of the half. When Dennis Green hit the hoop, Liberty led 31-23. The Leopards pushed the lead to 12 as Kennedy went without a basket for the first 5.5 minutes of the second half. That was Rob Richardson, who scored 10 in all. Liberty's lead got as big as 15 at 54-39 when Andy Goodman got an easy bucket on a long feed from Patton. Ryan then led the Eagles' last charge, stroking a pair of three-pointers down the stretch, the last one pulling his team within 5. But that was with only 35 seconds left, and Liberty stroked 4 free throws after that to keep its record perfect.
Liberty's tournament run made a stop in Canton for a nail-biter with Sandy Valley in the regional semifinals. Jim Evans covered the Leopards, who were chasing their 25th consecutive win.
They played it tight in the first. The Leopards took a 12-10 edge when Dennis Green socked a triple on the way to a 16-point game. After that, the Cardinals took and held the edge for quite a while. Matt Reynolds negotiated a three-point play, and Sandy Valley led 17-14 after one. Reynolds wrapped 16. The Cardinals took a 7-point lead at 24-17 in the second on a deuce by Jeff Bowles, who plugged a game-high 28 to go with 19 boards. The Leopards then pulled within 4. Bob Richardson knocked down a turnaround and made it 29-25. 31-25, the score at the break. The story for the Leopards in the first half. Bobby Patton held scoreless. Dixon Carmindo and Mark Magic both with 3 fouls. And the Leopards were out-rebounded 23-15. They'll have their work cut out for them in the second set. The Cardinals continue to hold the upper hand in the third, though. Grant Provance busted a 3. That made it 42-26. The Valley girls were going wild. The Leopards hung with them. Bobby Patton, who was held to a season-low 5 points, stroked his first 2 of the game with 3 seconds to go in the third. And Liberty was within 46-43 heading into the fourth. Down by as much as 6 again, the Leopards slugged back again and then pulled even at 58 after Mark Magic buried consecutive triples. He had 5 of those and finished out with 19 points. Then in the final 4 minutes of the game, they played it hoop for hoop. There were 6 lead changes as Richardson and Bowles went one-on-one. Bowles gave the Cardinals a 66-65 lead with 35 seconds to go. Richardson, who scored 14 of his 24 in the fourth, then countered with 3 points, all at the line, and the Leopards led 68-66 with 7 seconds. Sandy Valley got one final shot, but Bowles came up just short, and so did the Cardinals. 68-66 the final as the Leopards reached down again for their 25th straight win.
Kids hung tough. You got to win things like this to keep going on. There's no doubt about that. Everybody's good now. There are no bad teams.
The Leopards now head to the regional finals Saturday night.
On March 23, 1990, Liberty traveled to St. John Arena in Columbus, 1 win away from the Division III state championship game. And Bobby Patton Jr. came up big against Bishop Hartley with a game-high 21 points. Jim Evans had the coverage.
After falling behind early, the Leopards pulled even at 8 apiece when Mark Magic zeroed in for 3 of his 14 points. The Hawks outscored him 9-4 the rest of the first. Aaron Maudry buried 3 of his 14 on the way, and Hartley led 17-12 after 1. They then took their largest lead at 24-16 midway through the second when Cleveland Brown knocked down a deuce. Liberty came back and cut the gap to 4 when Bobby Patton socked a triple. And the Leopards trailed 29-25 at the half. They kept the momentum to open the third with a 14-3 run. Bob Richardson beat the coverage down floor for 2 of his 12 to go with 11 boards. And Patton followed with 2 of his 10 free throws and 11 tries on the way to his game-high 21. And the Leopards led 39-34. Down 46-42 entering the fourth, the Hawks pulled within 2 after Mike Blevins popped a pair. But the Leopards turned it up again. Dennis Green poured and scored 2 of his 15, and Liberty held a 53-46 advantage. They were able to maintain the edge the rest of the way to stay on top. The Leopards held Hartley to just 26% shooting in the second half, so once again, Liberty defense came through.
We were too tentative in our zone, and we came out because they do a great job of running their open post motion. They're a lot quicker than we were. So I thought we needed to go back and play great man-to-man defense as much as we could, and then use trapping stuff at half court, which we did. And those were the main adjustments I made.
I'm just saying they did a good job not fouling us. And we didn't get to the line to get our stroke going. And they only missed 2 foul shots, according to my stats, 3 for the day. And I think that was the difference as well.
64-53 the final. And according to our calculations, that's now 27 straight for the Leopards. They now take on either Richmondale Southeastern or St. Henry in tomorrow's Division III state championship. In Columbus, Jim Evans, News Watch 27 Sports.
On March 24th, Liberty lost the Division III state championship 71-60 to St. Henry, snapping their 27-game winning streak. Bobby Patton Jr. hit 5 three-pointers in that game and led the Leopards with 20 points. He was eventually named Ohio's Mr. Basketball and went on to play collegiately at Stanford University.